Hey y'all, welcome to Rep Your Grind, where we represent to the fullest. Tonight we have a special guest all the way from Mississippi, Mr. Jabari Baymon. He's been doing such an amazing job over the years with his singing and his ministry. So tonight we're talking about the things that God has really done for him this year. And he has really been amazing. And I am so glad he gave us a chance to do that tonight. So our heads together as we welcome Mr. Jabari Baymon.
What's up, y'all?
Hey
What's up,
there.
everybody?
Good, good. Look, I don't know what's trying to happen with this connection, but we're going to, I rebuke it in Jesus' name. It's going to be a good flowing tonight. All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Look, so I was telling everyone in your introduction how you have been traveling for a while now and how God has blessed your music to really flourish over the years. And now you just had an awesome opportunity to be featured. What the featured song, right? Was it the featured song? Well, the upcoming movie off of BET Plus, Forbidden Fruit, right? Am I right?
Absolutely. You're right.
And he had a song called Still Here.
Right. The song
Tell us,
on the movie is Do It Again, Lord.
do it
And so,
again, Lord.
yes, yes.
Okay, well, tell us about how did that opportunity come about?
Okay. Firstly, I want to say, hey everybody, I hope everybody's doing well. I'm glad to be here with Rep Your Grind tonight. Like it's one thing to be on
Okay.
and be interviewed with other people. But when it's people that you love and know dearly, it's different. It's home. So I'm grateful. Thank you for the opportunity. Um, and so, just this past year, I had the opportunity to record in Monroe, Louisiana. To go do playbacks and overdubs in Louisiana. And it
Mhm.
was after my new record that's coming called Generational Curse Breaker. Let me know if you can hear me.
Mhm. I hear you.
Okay. The Generational Curse Breaker. And so that's coming sometimes at the end of the year. And I was on my way home and I was really feeling defeated after one of the playback sessions that we had. Not that it was bad, not that anything was just wrong. I was just like, we got to do something. I had greater expectation for what I heard. Let me say that. And there was no reflection on the singles of the band. It was just me, wanting to be a perfectionist at what I'm doing. And I checked my phone on the interstate. Was on the interstate driving back to Mississippi, and I checked my phone and there's an inbox from the producer of the movie, Lewis Brown, and he sends me this scene to the movie. Now, mind you, the scene in the movie I have not at that time. We didn't agree to. I agreed, but we didn't establish a full scene. He just said, "Do you have a song that goes with this scene?" And while I was going through it, I was like, I'm recording now. I don't have anything just right off top, but I'm recording now. And he says, oh man, I need something like ASAP. I need something. And Miguel, who is my musical director, was with me, and he said, "Send Do It Again, Lord," like that. And I'm like, "Do it again? Like that's old. It's been out like 2 years. We moving on to another record now." And I'm like, okay. So I sent Do It Again, Lord, to get the response that, okay, we're going to use this song, and I'll send you the information and contract tomorrow.
Okay. And it just went from there.
So if I can be honest, Lewis, in this part, in the business part, he reminded me of Beyonce, because when Beyonce sends out like non-disclosures and contracts, that's all you hear until she decides to release it. Well, that was my situation. I the contract, we
Mhm.
did our final paperwork, in probably November of 2022. So here I am, not thinking anything
Okay.
about it. Mind you, I knew nothing about it being on BT Plus. I knew nothing about Paramount. In other words, I knew nothing that was coming. I just only agreed to what was there. Like I didn't in the contract said nothing about BT Plus. It said nothing about Paramount. It said nothing about this was gonna be streamed nationally or worldwide. We had no idea. All we knew was he wanted to use the song for a particular scene, and I agreed.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are in 2023 on BT Plus and Paramount.
And so it was more like a hidden blessing.
Absolutely,
It was like
yes,
you didn't know how. Yeah, that's awesome. So over the me knowing you personally, but to the audience, who was that musical influence for you? Like growing up, where did you grow up? Could you tell them a little bit about your background?
absolutely. Isola, Mississippi. Isola, Mississippi is my hometown. That's where I grew up. Um, I often say legends are produced in Isola. I say that not because of everybody who
Uh-huh.
were made it to big screens or nothing like that, but only because of just people in Isola had so much wisdom because it was small town. So everybody kind of just knew everybody. Everybody looked out for everybody. Your grandmama could probably whoop me, and my grandmama probably would whoop you. It was like that kind of thing. And so I grew up in Isola. And growing up, the soundtrack to my life, or what I would say, people who were influential to me, um, my mama had a Ford Contour at that time. I can't remember the model. I can't remember the year. It was a green Ford Contour. And she that's when the time when the cassettes was out. When you can wind them up with your finger to get them back on. Uh,
Uh-huh.
so that I was I remember John P. Key being like that key influence for me. My mama had every John P. Key record that came out, and so she played that in the car. I can remember the
Mm-hmm.
Caravans. You will see me post on Facebook and Meadow Albertina Walker a lot, but in actuality, she's a
Right.
major influence um, for me. James Cleveland and the Clark sisters.
Okay. Yeah. Look, I tell you, I'm gonna tell you why I thought you was posting Albertina so much of a fashion sense. Cause like your grandmother,
My
she
grandma.
sharp. She was sharp. You hear me? So when I say, oh, okay, you try to say she had a little influence helping Albertina, not Albertina helping her. But
That's right.
that's what I thought when I first saw that.
But you know what's funny? People would often get like those photos misconstrued with my grandmother. So people would be like, "Look at Miss Sis on that photo." I'm like, "That's Albertina Walker. That's not my grandma." But my grandma literally had those diamond shades going across her face. She had on 9 necklaces and 40
Mm-hmm.
pearls in her purse. She had on leopard zebra plaid and pinstripe, and somehow it all went together. And you know what's amazing to me though? What's amazing to me is that now that I look at the fashion industry now, it's
What?
exactly what they're doing now.
Yeah, it is. And
I,
I
I,
used to love to see. I mean, she would point all the time. And grandmother, which they, yeah, I just enjoyed it. And I always wondered, like, where did them come from? So by having all of that, I've noticed you had a lot of nominations coming up. So give us that journey about those. How did you even get there to the nomination part? You know, like if there's some artists out there, I'm just gonna say artists because a lot of times, whether it's gospel or
yeah.
secular, they need that journey. Like, how did you get A, B, C to D?
I think this is an amazing question. I'll be honest and say that when I first started off, I remember so many people and watching so many people do it that I was like, okay, I need to follow in their footsteps. I need to figure out what they're doing. And so, in asking people for advice, you didn't always get their recipe. Like people didn't always say, well, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. A lot of times they wouldn't tell you at all, trying to actually harbor the success or the moment for themselves. But if I can be truly honest, um, I remember praying. Honestly, I prayed, and I remember in my prayer time, I said, God, I need you to show me direction on what it is that I need to do. I at that point in my life, I'll be honest, Do It Again, Lord came around 2019 when I wrote it. Before Do It Again was released, which is my first record, my first single, before it was released, I had I had lost, I'll be honest, I had lost maybe $2,000 in trying to get it produced and getting engineering. I had lost probably around $2,000. I remember going to the studio. I remember finishing it. Um, Do It Again was 2 studio records before it became a live song. The first thing, it was I had went through this one particular engineering group, and when we were writing it and when we was doing it, I was like, okay, this is gonna be amazing. And then it started getting passed through so many hands. So then I learned copyrights. I learned how to copyright. I learned how to trademarks, all of that. So that way, with it being passed through so many hands, I wouldn't lose out. I wouldn't be messed over. I'll be honest. So I'm like,
Right.
God. So as I
Go ahead, because
okay,
that part you said about the copyrights, a lot of people do not know. They think that, you know, that's my song. People hear my song, but people will take your song. You know, they even have what they call. Did you know about that? Like the poor man copyright. Did
yes,
you know
the
when
poor
they?
is when you
Mm-hmm.
email. You can either write the lyrics out, you can mail it to yourself and never open it, or you can email yourself a date and time and you never open the email.
Right. And that's called research, people. When you
Yeah.
speaking of these things, that let me know that he didn't just write a song and go out there. He researched what he could do to cover himself. So continue after you learn about the copyright and everything. So what was your next step to the road to either or winning?
Okay. After doing the copyrights, I went through so much with production. I got discouraged. I got because it like deadlines, turnaround times. You know what? It's hard having a vision, trying to communicate a vision that God only spoke to you. So now this is
Mm-hmm.
still my assignment. Whether you do your engineering or not, this is still my assignment. Whether you do the graphics or not, it's still mine. I still have to do this. And so what I did was I learned about to be honest, I learned how to write. I learned the different parts of a song. I learned verses, vamps, choruses. I learned what it means to do an intro, outro. I learned just different things because I needed to know, so when I got in the studio, I couldn't get messed over again. So before actually getting nominated and before actually just, getting there, I had to learn, I had to be honest, I had to lose. Before I won anything, I had to lose. And I lost. People see the success part of it, but they're in the learning, in the process, you get burned so many times. You lose so much. You get people coming to you saying, hey, I'm gonna help you, I'm gonna help promote this, I'm gonna help this, and you pay so much amount of money and the work never gets done. So
Never.
and I learned. So what I did was I was like, God, teach me how to cut out this middleman.
Mm-hmm.
And when I learned how to do that, that was the blessing. Like I did my for the cover for Do It Again, all of my singles, I do my own graphics. For writing and subscribing, I went through all of the back channels, learning the artist pages. Apple Music has an artist page. YouTube has an artist page. Pandora, all of those streaming sites have an artist page where it lets you know who listens to your music, where they listen to it at, the age group, your target audience. So you learn who
Mm-hmm.
you're. And so I will never forget. After coming out with Do It Again happened in my live recording in Monroe, which was October
Mm-hmm.
2020 during the pandemic. I told God
Okay.
that I saw so many people dying. I saw so many people leaving in 2020. And I said, what I don't want to do is be in that number and I had nothing left behind me. So at that
Oh.
point in time, for me, it was kind of like this go time. I during the pandemic, I wrote a book. During the pandemic, Do It Again, Lord came out. And um it wasn't the pandemic that pushed it. It was the fear of losing in the pandemic. It was the fear that if God had called me home today, what did I leave behind that people still can say, oh, that's Jabari. Oh, that Jabari wrote
Mm-hmm.
that. Jabari did that. Jabari said that. And so actually that nomination, the first nomination from the Mississippi Merit Award, came during the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic. I did nothing. I learned how to do content. On Facebook, I learned how to operate the reels, because in order to be an artist, you have to be able to reinvent yourself and stay with the times of what's going on. So reels, I learned what that was. I learned that the Facebook algorithm. I learned that you can't post certain things at a certain time. That it will be overlooked. It'll be pushed to the back of the algorithm. I learned that story posts get more views, and I just basically and I listen. I told this story to a group on Clubhouse one night. My
Mm-hmm.
very first time, I did not have the money to get a photo shoot done. What I did was I got a white sheet, a bed sheet. I ironed it to get all the wrinkles out. I got two thumbtacks, and I thumbtacked it on my wall. I had a lamp light, and I put aluminum foil in the lamp light. After doing my research now, I got aluminum foil put in the lamp light, and I had Miguel. I had Miguel holding that lamp light in certain angles, and we had this kind of, and iPhones had some of the best picture quality that was out at the time. And I learned what editing was from my living room. Before my first professional photo shoot, quote unquote, was done by me.
I just say, I let me tell you now. You could say iPhone was the best. Okay, I have one now, but let me tell you something. Android Galaxy was the truth on the camera, but I understand what you're saying. Like, if you learn like what you should do, can't nobody let you down. If you
Nobody.
don't have a photographer, you your photographer. If you don't have, you could go to Fiverr, you could go there. But if you start yourself and learn yourself,
Yeah,
and when you get the means to do it or hire someone else, then right there, you know if they try to do you or not. It's like
absolutely.
knowledge is power.
Yes, absolutely. And this is making me really, really emotional. Like I'm trying not to cry, but only because only because um, sometimes in these moments you get to reflect on how far you've really come, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
as I'm looking back, like thinking about the times in my living room with that lampshade and that photo in that in the sheet, I did that for a year before I was able to be able to finance and get my own equipment. Before I was able to buy lighting, before I was able to buy a camera, that happened in my living room. And so I was actually texting somebody today, and I said to them, they was telling me all their dreams and what they wanted to do as an artist and all that. And what I said was,
Mm-hmm.
but my question to you is, what have you done with what you already have?
You're right.
Like
Yeah.
we working trying to get the top of the line equipment. We working trying to get the top of the line everything. But what have you done with what you already have? If I just believe that if it's your time, you already have what you need.
Everything you
I
need is already
hey,
because. Mm-hmm.
I had the lampshade, I had the iPhone, I had the sheet. I just had to put my mind, God, elevate my thinking to make this what
Mm-hmm.
it needs. And that's how I started traveling. That's when I made one post in 2019. And from
Mm-hmm.
there, I was able to travel the entire year. I mean, I didn't work. It was my ministry, it was full-time ministry that year. I throughout the country. Everybody, hey, I got this. Come on, I need you. And it wasn't free. I didn't get a fish plate no more. Uh
You didn't get the slaw on the
I didn't get
side.
right. I didn't get the slot. I didn't get the you come minister to my church and I'm gonna pat you on the back and give you $5 until you go back home. I didn't get that.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you that. Let me say this to anybody on here that's watching. All of that is necessary. Can
It's
you do this for
necessary.
free? Can you
Right.
do this when nobody paying you? Can you go and you only got $20 in your gas tank and you got to pray when you get there, God, I can make it back home. Like all of that was necessary.
Right.
And let
Right.
me say,
Don't make
a lot of it I learned from you.
who?
You.
Oh.
I remember. I remember hearing one of your first records through Harmony and Sherelle in the car. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember how they would tell me you would go to the studio in Clarksdale. You have, to me, and I'm gonna say this, you have always been and I want to say hustler in the Christian sense of the word, but you have always been a hustler. Like you always made it happen. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
watching not just
Thank
you,
you.
but being along with your children in ministry and all of that and so many other things. Like one thing I learned about, not just Church of God in Christ, but coming up in Belzoni in Humphreys County, we
Mm-hmm.
didn't see a lot growing up. We didn't go a lot of places. But for what we did see in church, it was, and I'll be honest, it was St. Luke Church of God in Christ. It was New Life St. Paul Church
Mm-hmm.
of God. It was
Mm-hmm.
Redeemed Church of God in Christ. What you saw at those three churches in Humphreys County was what you learned
Mm-hmm.
from. And so for
Yeah.
me, it was the missionary guns. It was the Elder Martins. It was the
Right.
missionary Wow. It was the Miss Geneva Smith. It was what you learned from those people that kind of, that pivoted us. And so we just took what they gave us and we
Yeah.
just rolling with it. It was you leading praise and worship when I was a kid. I remember that.
Oh, well, let me tell you. It's something that you say that I always been I guess I wouldn't say dreamer, but I always been the type to. I have stacks and stacks of tablets. I mean, like tablets like this. Not the digital. I write everything. Everything God give me, I got bukus like everywhere. Even if it's not for me, if somebody say something close to it, I'm gonna give it to them. Like this must be for you. And it's something that you would say that I never knew people were looking at me because it was times I would leave Jackson. When you was talking about going to Clarksdale, I would leave Jackson and drive straight through Belzona. And sometimes Sherelle would go, and sometimes my mom would go, or Miss Martha, and go straight to Clarksdale. Drive to be at the university at 6 in the morning. You see what I'm saying? Because God was giving to me the song, so I was writing it on tissue paper. So not me even putting it out there. I didn't even know you knew or nobody knew. But I always told my kids that whatever you do, if you work at it,
Mm-hmm.
God will make room for you. You see what I'm saying? If he give you something, that's being a steward over what he's giving you. You got to be a steward over your time. And like this right here, it took me so long. I'm a writer, like physical writer, typewriter. To get this podcast thing going on, if y'all don't know how complex and perplexed I was to do this, it almost had me, but I refused to give up. And that's why I see in you the drive. You know, if you don't if you don't put your passion and love into what you're doing, my question I have for people is how can God bless you? If you're gonna have do that, you're gonna have do him. If God gives you something, that part that you said, you wanted to leave some in 2020, how many people left and didn't get a chance to plant a seed or get a chance to even start theirs? You see what I'm saying? That was a blessing from God that you could see that. And Nicki Minaj had a song that transformed my life. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't care what y'all say. When that girl said everybody die, everybody live, I had to think about that. We be so fearful. And we speak about Humphreys County, I sold Bell's Honor, Louise, Midnight Silver City. But to me, I feel like our county is blessed and amazing. We have talented people. And I don't think, and can't nobody stop us, because it's about to be a change there. You see what I'm saying? If you look at, we have so many kings and queens at the HBCUs. We have so many talented people doing talent and blessed things of God. I mean, whether it's cooking or styling hair or making, God said, if you be faithful over a few,
Yeah.
He'll make you rule over many. And that's where, when I saw that, I knew it was you singing. I did not know that you had a team. Like, it was a whole Jabari increase, Jabari Baymon Increase. So tell us about your members, and tell us a little about how y'all got to come together.
And I'll be and say this, like, because now this opens a whole nother door of ministry, because when you get used to doing it by yourself, it's hard to trust other people when you had to learn to do it your own self. And
That's
so,
right.
um, and I'll be honest and say that it first started out with peace, love, and harmony. I gotta bring it up, like me, Sherelle, and Harmony. It was us three when we
Mm-hmm.
first started out, kind of doing things together. And then from there, uh, when we kind of just all kind of separated a little bit, and it wasn't a and I want to say this: when you learn this in life, you'll be a whole lot better. Every separation is not a dirty or evil separation. Like, it was a clean cut. Like, we all hung out and still sung together. It's just we realized
Y'all
that our
family.
desires was pulling us in different directions. So you just got to know
Right.
when to bow gracefully. And so,
Mm-hmm.
um, so we ended up at some point, like, doing Do It Again. So I had the team in Monroe. It was me, Terrence Smith, who was the drummer, Bernard Smith, which was the bass player, Quentin Wafer, who was the ox player, Miguel on keys, Miguel Palmer, and James McAbee on lead guitar. So that's the Do It Again crew. So what I realized in doing it was,
Okay.
we recorded this movie. We recorded this live recording in Monroe, but I'm in Mississippi. So, it was costly to make those moves back and forth. So I
Mm-hmm.
started, coming home, and I started, practicing here. Practicing in the Delta. So I was practicing, and while I was practicing and all that, um, I ended up making friends, but then God started to seeing who I needed. It wasn't me
Oh yeah.
going to pick, oh, you gonna sing with me, oh, you gonna sing with me. No, like, everybody that sings with me literally came to me and said, I see what you're doing, I want to help you. So that started with Deidre Johnson, who's the alto, who made it to the
Shout
studio
out
here.
to the altos.
Deidre Johnson, who's the alto, Elijah Peppers. Elijah's the tenor. Elijah came to my drummer 2 years ago and said, tell Jabari if he needs somebody to sing with him, I got him. And what I didn't know was,
Mm.
Elijah had later told me that my ministry was a blessing to him, and that he wanted to be a part too, because when he tried to get in other groups, nobody accepted him.
Mm.
And so I'm like, well, why would I not accept you? Come on. So that's how Elijah came. And then in this new live recording, getting prepared, we had some things that happen. A lot of stuff happened where, musicians and things and people ended up quitting, and it wasn't, like I said, not no bad blood or nothing. It was just a drive and
Mm.
a time. We had to get things going. And a soprano, Andrea Somerville from Greenville. came to practice, and she been with me ever since. So what I will say about this crew, and this is no knock to anybody that's been with me as far as singing before, but this crew,
Mm-hmm.
what I like about us is there's a bond. I learned that in order for you to sing together, you got to know who you're singing with.
Mm-hmm.
I told my singers, I said, I don't need to know your life or what you do behind closed doors to spread your business. I need to know you. So if you happen to fall in grace, I know where to come find you.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I, I
Powerful.
know where to find you. So if your vice is drinking, I need to know. I might bump into you at the liquor store. I just need to know. So that's how I got to know them. And so we all from that point, we all
Right.
worked from there. And that's still here out right now on all digital outlets. And we're working on we actually recorded 9 songs. So my first full album will probably be out by the end of the year.
Okay. Album time, increase. I like that faith talk. That's my faith talk.
Yeah.
Words have so much power. So so you're working on your album with increase, and you have a tour coming up, right?
And what now?
You have a tour coming up with Generational Curse Breakers
Absolutely.
tour.
Yes.
So tell us about the tour.
The tour is we're moving. What I learned with what God had given us was we would go through practice and we wouldn't make it through practice with some of the songs that God had given us. Like every song or every segment had something different for every member. Um, so I wrote songs like I want to be free from me. These are the days I prayed for. I'm a generational curse breaker. um I wrote just thank God I made it, different songs. And so every segment was different for every musician, every singer. This is the first album that I felt like
Mm-hmm.
I watched everybody from band to singers have moments crying and have moments to themselves from working with the record.
Mm.
So at the live recording, a pastor walked up to me and she said, Pastor Lee, actually, Pastor LaShare Lee, which will be with her on March 18th. And she said, you're bringing this to my church, right? And I was like, yeah, said it lightly. And before we could leave the live recording, there was about 5 churches that called saying, I need you to bring this to my church. And
Wow.
so
That's
so
awesome.
we got that started, and that's what we're moving forward to. And I want to jump back quickly to the nomination. So, uh, Do It Again got me New Artist of the Year at the
Mm-hmm.
Merit Award. Um, and that's why I said the process. You see the
Okay.
glam, but the process is tedious. Um, in 2000, I can't remember the year, maybe 2020, 2021. I went to the Merit Awards. I didn't win New Artist of the Year, but let me tell you what the real win is.
Mm-hmm.
The real win is getting in the room. The real win is showing
That
up.
you just need to get in the room.
You just need to get in
That's
the
true.
room. And when,
Showing up.
and when I got there, I got a chance to network and meet some other artists. And and it wasn't a forced network. Like I didn't go saying, "Oh, I'm Jabari Baymon. Y'all need to know who I am." No, no. We went, and I'm like, it was nice to meet you. I've been listening to your music, and then to my surprise, some people knew who I was. They just never met me. And so we went along, and the next year, I was nominated twice. So it was for Best Collaboration and Contemporary Artist of the Year. Well, in 2022, we brought home Best Collaboration for my single Good to Me. But I said this, I lost first and I won later. So it's
Right.
important that you understand that even with wins come losses. And
Mm-hmm.
now God is blessed, and we'll be at the Golden Triangle Music Awards next weekend. And the beauty from that is last year, I was in the balcony at the award show last year. So I didn't get a chance to network.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get a chance to talk to a lot of people. I did take pictures. I did meet some people just being on the red carpet. This year, we're nominated
Mhm.
twice. The goal is to get in the room. Last year,
To get in the room.
I didn't go in there, and I wouldn't. Oh, I'm Jabari, because at this time the singles had been out, and God blessed to where the music has reached about 10 countries that I've never been to in my life. And so, any arrogant person can walk in the room and feel like that's a sense of entitlement. Oh yeah, like I deserve to be here.
Hmm.
Nope. When I've learned that when you get to new tables, even when you know everything, sometimes it's best to act like you know nothing. Be a student at every table.
No.
So I got into GTA
Hmm.
Wars, and I sat there and I listened. I didn't say a word. I didn't go trying to take pictures with a lot of the artists that people was flocking up to, and I love all of them and their legend. But I learned from them. I watched. And this year we're
Right.
nominated for Contemporary Artist of the Year and New Artist of the Year at the Golden Triangles Awards, and we're opening this year. So from the balcony to the stage, and so I'm grateful.
I love when you said just get in the room. I mean, because when Rep Your Grind first started, people don't know when I moved from Mississippi, I moved to Baltimore, Maryland. And
Mhm.
when God gave me Rep Your Grind, it was just to interview barbers that love what they do. Where it came from. The repping was your craft. The grinding was the clipper blade. And so I remember my first interview was with a barber, and so happened by interviewing him, I end up interviewing. I'm gonna give a shout out to E Digger, which has his own television podcast. I mean, he's done some amazing things, and that led me to him. When they saw his, well, I wasn't even digital; I was on print. After they read his interview, they came back and sent messages like, "Who was there?" I mean, just interview. So it took it from just interviewing barbers to interviewing models, interviewing all the way over to Jamaica. So what Mr. Bayman is telling you is, if it don't lead you to that wherever your end of is, your journey will get you there and in the room with people that you need. If God gives you something, He said your gift would make room. He gave me something to interview barbers being from another state. I didn't know any other barbers. I didn't hear there. So He gave me an opportunity to meet barbers, which opened the door for me to meet people all over in Jamaica. And I interviewed people in Israel, rappers. You hear me?
Mhm.
I interviewed Israelite rappers. So I did not think it was gonna go that way. So when you said just get in the room from the balcony to the front to the I just say what's that seat they give you, front row, two nominations. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. So um I try to tell people you have to know when God is blessing you and how to be patient in your journey. How to be patient. Give me any something on your generational to a date.
Okay, the signal went out just the hair. I think you were saying give you some generational curse breaker tour dates.
Give me some tour dates.
Okay, right now the only date that we really have booked at the moment is March 18th. And so we're getting back into the groove of things now. After taking a little break from the live recording and all of that, so we'll March 18th we'll be in Warren, Arkansas, with the Generational Curse Breaker tour at Second Chance Worship Center West, which will be in Warren, Arkansas. On March 19th, I'll be in Indianola, Mississippi, for a quartet program there for anniversary. March 25th, I'll be in Alexandria, Louisiana. And so the 26th, I'll be in Louise, Mississippi. So what I love about all of this is that sometimes it's so good being going across the country and seeing other people, and sometimes you are received well. But at the end of the day, if you can do all of that for your neighbors, you can do all of that for home. So I'm glad to come back home and be able to do certain things at home. So I'm excited about that. And I mean,
That's
if we're gonna,
awesome. That's awesome.
there's a lot of things in Humphreys County, that we grew up and we swept under the rug.
It's a lot.
Certain it's a lot. And not just in Humphreys County, all over the world. But from where I'm from, we get a chance to see it firsthand. And so, I'm just
Hmm.
excited to be a vessel that God can use, to show that anything is possible. That God can use who He wants to, and I say that because I just remember when and you know what, and I want to say this, Ma, while we on here, because with
Hmm.
also with elevation, or sometimes with complacency, God will use a situation of scandal, or a situation of schism, or which situation of trouble, to get you where you need to be. um I can honestly say that, back in 20 in the before 2020, those years, I enjoyed being a choir director. I enjoyed being a worship leader. And I remember at a point in time where, and people may not know this, there was a time where I actually got booked to go to jail in Humphreys County. Um, and I actually was handcuffed and arrested, and all that good stuff. And it was based off of, and I can be 100 and say, a lie. I didn't know in my
Right.
life that people could come up with so many lies and so much scandal, so much schism. I
Hmm.
was, I just didn't know that. And so when it happened to me, I was wondering, like, God, why is this happening to me? God, why am I going through this? And I didn't stay long. I didn't stay. Honestly, I didn't stay a full couple of hours. Um, but I said all that to say this. Since that moment, God was strategically aligning my life. God, do it again, from everything from that pain, from everything from that trouble. And I'm gonna tell you this: it honestly came from being around the wrong people. The lies came from being attached to the wrong people, for not guarding my circle, for taking my anointing places that it shouldn't have went, being connected with people that I shouldn't have been connected to,
Right.
taking on the signs that weren't mine. And what I learned was, you can't, just because you have Jesus in you, don't mean you can be their Jesus.
Hmm.
And so, from all of that, God is
You
blessed.
cannot.
God is blessed, and so I'm still here, and that's the blessing. Um, I wouldn't, and at that time, I wasn't at liberty to talk about it because of court and legal issues. But thank God that
Hmm.
God finally, like, released that situation. The case was dismissed. All of it was found to be a lie, and so I'm grateful. I'm just grateful that after all of that, I'm still here.
I'm gonna tell you, I didn't even know about that. I never heard that. That shocked me. But that's what I tell people. Look, when people, if it's a lie, don't worry. When you pray about it and give it to God, that is over with. It's out your hand. And I'm so glad, they found what, the situation was, and it was resolved in the truth. So give a young artist, a person that's out there that's kind of confused on what to do and really don't know. Give them a word of encouragement. Encourage someone's heart that, rep your grind came out. It was just an idea God gave me. Um, you singing was reared in you growing up, and now you being nominated. Give them a word of encouragement for their hearts that's listening to us right now.
Okay. Well, first I want to say that, to anybody who's dreaming, who has ideas, ideals, that have goals, that you can't wake up in the morning without doing that thing, or thinking that thing, whether that's business, whether that's doing a business, writing a book, singing a song, whether that's building a house, whatever that dream may be, rapping, singing, a graphic designer, whatever that may be. The goal, the goal is for you to start. It is not your job to figure out what happens after you start. If God gave it to you, your job is to start. His job is to finish. He said in the word, he that has begun a good work in you shall perform it until the day of Jesus. So with that being said, that means that all you have to do is start. It is the Lord that gives power to obtain wealth. So seek God. Seek God in everything. Seek him and what you need in your direction, in your path, who to connect to. Pray for discernment so you can learn, you can discern the sharks and the leeches because they out here. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Also, study, research, learn because everybody won't tell you everything. Some people only want to be the only ones at the top or the only people doing something. So research, learn, because at the end of the day, whether nobody helps you or not, it's still your assignment if God gave it to you. I often love the parable of the 5 talents, where God gave five, He gave four, He gave three, He gave one. Everyone multiplied what they had, but the one, and the one buried his. But I just want to say to you that
Mm-hmm.
don't bury your talent. And I want to say that don't bury your talent looking at how many or what he gave somebody else. They needed five. They needed four. They needed three. But God only gave you
Mm-hmm.
one because you only needed one. So the power that the five and the four and the three have, you have in that one. So start.
So we are live, and I see we have people on. Is there anything y'all would like to ask about the generational curse breaker tour, or just any question you may have? Y'all could do so right now before we get off the air. But first, before I do anything else, I want to thank you again, Jabari, for being my guest, for allowing me to kind of work this new venture of being live, y'all, on StreamYard. You know, I'm trying to upgrade. You know, I'm trying to
You
do
got
something.
this. And I'm
And
so proud.
look, let me ask you this: do you have a podcast? Oh, thank you. You have a
Yes.
podcast too?
Yes. So
Well, tell them
with
about your podcast.
with community health here, which is a lot of people don't know that I do a lot of traveling. I'm on the road with ministry and music all the time. But in my downtime, I work at Community Health Peer, which is a community health based organization in Greenville. And so um,
Mhm.
we decided we started a podcast there to get the message out about HIV, so many sicknesses, medications, so many illnesses, and shout out to community health peer, my boss Cedric Sturdivant, who started the organization a couple of years ago, and shout out to my coworkers. So we do this podcast every week to talk about just different topics that people are afraid to address, whether there's healthy living, healthy intercourse, whether there's mental health, stress, self-care. We talk about all those different topics. HIV testing. We do HIV testing every week, free, Monday through Friday. And everything else, we're able to outsource and get those jobs done, from housing to food pantry to so many other
Mhm.
things. And so with that being said, we do that podcast on that. And so we do it every Wednesday from at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock in the morning. I often share it on my Facebook page, where you'll find me, Jabari Baymon, or Jabari Baymon Music Worldwide. And that's also on Instagram and all the other handles as well. So yes, we do that podcast. And I want to say that from a fellow podcaster, you're doing an amazing job.
Okay.
I love your equipment. Come on, headset and microphone.
Okay. You hear me? You hear me? Look, I had it so long, y'all. It looked like every time I tried to use it, this is my first successful time. I got it in 2022. I got a high price camera watching YouTube. Didn't even know how to use it. You hear me? But Sherelle said she just want to sing in the background.
Come on, Sherelle. Listen, you already know what it is when that bloodline get together. Come on. I actually for real
So
though, I really want you we actually after
go
Generation
ahead.
Curse, I plan on one of my goals, what I want to do is I want to come back to Humphreys County and I want to write a choir album for Humphreys County. Like we got a whole lot of talent and singers in Humphreys County. So it's my goal. What you finna say, Mom?
No, I got a song. I know I got a song.
Oh, absolutely.
I
Uh,
want a song. Look,
listen, I want,
so
I want
I'm
that.
letting y'all know.
I really do. Like, I want to do a choir album, and I want like the churches to come together, and we'll record it and put it out because there's so much talent in Humphreys County. So I want to do that. That's a goal of
Oh
mine.
yeah.
So y'all be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout. Look, and let's go back. We're gonna go back because we got about 8 more minutes. Look, when you was talking about the churches that influenced you, like New Life St. Paul, back in the days it was just St. Paul,
It was St.
and then it
Paul.
was a St. Luke, and then it was Clydesdale, Mohead. Let me tell you what influenced me. It was White Star, the ultimate choir day. Don't nobody fight me. This is to me now. Back in the day when choir days, that daybreak choir day, that got me right there. I started directing and everything because of that daybreak choir day, and then like New Hope and everybody and Goodwill. I mean, it was just about it. The choir day in that time was like the most phenomenal thing to me. But the number one church ever I went that I wanted to see, I used to go with my grandmother. And every my mom go to the convocation before I became old enough to go was Green Grove. I don't care. I don't want nobody saying nothing. But when Green Grove come in, they had this je ne sais quoi Holy Ghost. You hear what I'm talking about? I mean, they finna sing. They had the step, and that really, that's how I got into directing choirs. When I watched them like breaking all that and when Green Grove, they just had this pause about him. I was like, I want to direct that choir one day. And I
Yeah,
remember being a part of George Lee and a reunion on that to bring the younger generation into George Lee and have a thing. But when you was talking about the influence, I want people now that's listening to us, I want you to look around you. There's influence everywhere. The word of God is everywhere. I don't care if you just close your eyes and just listen. And when you open, you see people doing things. They don't have to be Beyonce. They don't have to be, Drake or 50 Cent. They don't have to be that. You see what I'm saying? I don't know, like a lot of new Carter B or whatever. If you doing something to uplift your city and doing what you love, right there, you right there, you're a celebrity in your own town.
in your own
Someone
time.
is watching what you do. I did not know that Mr. Jabari, I was just doing what I love to do and what I want my kids to be involved in so they could see if you had 10 pennies, you could do my sound director doing his own thing over there. At 10 pennies, I told him, you give me some ground beef and some gravy, I'm gonna make a some rice. You understand what I'm saying? So
That's right.
look around and they may not be doing that level, but when people it will radiate from you
That's right.
and someone will see it. And
That's right.
that's what we want. We want children and know you because you from Belzone. They don't Belzone is it. Mississippi is it.
It.
It's a lot here, and this our season is coming.
Yes.
So I appreciate you coming on tonight. I appreciate everything. I appreciate you. So give them your links where they could find you and everything like that.
Okay. All social media is actually Facebook, Instagram, Jabari Baymon Music Worldwide. my personal Facebook page, Jabari Baymon, Twitter, PJ Baymon. All of it is there. Um, I want and two people, three people I missed and I want to address them because they were also very influential to me, and very just key people in who I am. Um, I want to say Miss Bernice Jones. If you knew Miss Bernice Jones, you
Mm-hmm.
know who I'm talking about. Miss Bernice Jones. Listen, Miss Bernice Jones, Rodney Jones, both of them are gone on to be with the Lord. Big Moose is what we called them. There was
Mm-hmm.
nothing that I've done, Big Moose, did not support, call, buy a t-shirt, send, get nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing that I've done he was not
Mm-hmm.
involved in. And so this last recording really got me because I was low, because I was just waiting on a ticket to come from Rodney because he always got one. Um, and
Yeah.
Rodney, Miss Bernice Jones, and I want to shout out to Miss Gina Haynes. Miss Haynes, like Miss Haynes and Miss
Oh,
Gray, like
yes.
they made sure that we got exposed to different locations, territories, different genres of music, different stages. I had my first real moment on stage at McDonald's Gospel Fest with Miss Gina Haynes alongside my girl Harmony Ball. So I'm grateful. Like, I can honestly say I have lived, y'all. I ain't saying I'm going nowhere now, but all I'm saying is that I can look back and just say I'm a blessed boy from Humphreys County.
You blessed. And y'all, when he say he have lived, that touched me because I know this. It's not about how much money you make. It's not about how many people follow you. It's not about how many likes you get on social media. To have that gratification that you did something, it's the journey for me. People ask me, "You make money in that pie?" You no. But God gave it to me, and I want to use it. I want
Not
to
yet.
use it, and I
I'm
have podcast. Not yet, right? Not
I'm
yet. That's right. And y'all, I'm gonna update. I see. I'm gonna have to update my Wi-Fi. I'm
it's
learning. I'm
okay.
still learning.
It's
I'm
okay.
still learning. But yeah, but y'all, I have another podcast. It's called Serial Divorcee Memoirs on Tuesdays at 7. And I really want y'all, Jabari gonna come back on there and it's gonna be the memoir. But God
To the
allowed
studio.
me to go through things in life that He wanted me to share and be vulnerable, and I want to share it. What was you about to say, Mr. Bam?
I said I'm gonna actually come to the studio next time. I'm and a part of this season might be
Oh, in house.
because the actual might be part of my fault because I'm in a hotel now. So this is why.
Right. Well, that's okay. Look, they on here. I want to send a shout out to Sherelle and everyone that's watching, and to my classmate Ray, Olive. I want to send a shout out to everyone that gave her time tonight. I want to thank you again, Mr. Jabari Baymon, MISS all the way. And I just want to thank y'all so much for being a part of this. And is there anything else you need to say, Baymon, before we go?
Nothing. Can't wait to see y'all.
That's it. Can't wait to see. So this is Rep Your Grind. Well, we do it great. We represent. Good night.